going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Jet Up and Go YouTube channel. If you're new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below, hit that post notification bell so you find out whenever we post a video. Slap a like and a comment on the video too, helps us out a lot. It's free for you to do, so we'd really appreciate it. Now, in today's video, we're going to talk about the green and white scrimmage. I know this video's a little late. It's been a couple days, but I was lucky enough to be able to attend the green and white scrimmage this year. Really, really cool experience. You know, you get to watch practice and the scrimmage at the end, and then they shot off some fireworks and did a little laser show afterwards too. Really, really cool time. Really cool experience. But really, what I wanted to get into is kind of some observations I had, some things that I was able to see. Starting off, I think arguably the most important thing is there were no major injuries. Connor McDermott went down. I believe they put out that it's a 1 to 2 week injury, low grade ankle sprain. So good news there. He won't be out for too long. We need all the depth we can get. Speaking of offensive line, Dwayne Brown was in attendance. He was hanging out with Joe Douglas and some of those guys. That's cool to see them bring him into the building and show him kind of the atmosphere of the fans. Hopefully they can work something out with him in the next coming days. It'd be nice to add him to the team, especially with Becton's injury. Then taking a look at the defense, I think there were a few guys that kind of stood out. Sauce Gardner, man, that dude is a freak. Um, Someone that big should not be able to move as fluidly and as fast as he does. It's really insane. You hear about it all the time on Twitter and Instagram and all over social media, but to see it in person is something completely different. It really is crazy. Um, Also, Quan Alexander, a guy newer, knows the system though, and it shows. I mean, the dude contributes in every way he possibly can. He's making plays. He's in the right spot where he needs to be. And I think he's going to be an effective player in this defense this year and really going to help them out a lot. And then as a position group collectively, I think the D line just looks really really improved. I mean, they live in the backfield. Again, you hear it on social media all the time, but to see it in person, they really are getting in the backfield all the time, um, pressuring Zach, making him make plays off schedule, get out of the pocket, and you really it really makes you optimistic for what they can do this year, considering that the Jets' offensive line, at least when all the starters are out there, is pretty formidable. I mean, you bring in uh, a guy in Laken Tomlinson who made the Pro Bowl last year as your left guard, AVT and all rookie team member last year at right guard, Mekhi Becton, who has all the potential in the world if he can stay healthy, which unfortunately we found out that this year he's probably not going to be able to play. And George Fant on the left, I mean, so it really is no joke of an offensive line that these defenders are going against, and it's cool to see how much depth they have too, because it's not only the starting four that are getting pressures. It's Bryce Huff, it's Jermaine Johnson, it's Jacob Martin, all these guys, Solomon Thomas, all of them are pretty effective at their position. It's nice to see. It's something we haven't really been able to see in a few years now, and you'd love to see this defense be able to create pass rush turnovers and kind of get the offense on the field more, give Zach more chances with the ball. Speaking of Zach, switching over to the offense, one guy I think has stood out all training camp, and I was super excited to see, and he did not disappoint, was Tyler Conklin. I mean, I think this guy has really established himself as a Jets' best tight end. Um, I would not argue with you if you told me by the end of the season he'll be number one on the depth chart, and I see this guy breaking out this year. I mean, he really. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's his route running for how big he is. He just has this way of getting open, and his chemistry with Zach is very good already, which you love to see. Now Uzama's been doing a solid job too. He's having a catch here and there, but I think Conklin is really the one that's kind of stood out and really come to the forefront during this training camp. Next up, hitting the receivers, Elijah Moore and Garrett Wilson. These two dudes are going to be something different. Um, there was one play where Zach threw a bomb to Garrett Wilson, placed it perfectly. Um, it was a little outside the end zone, so it was an incomplete pass, but Garrett Wilson being able to track the ball down, make the catch, almost get his feet in, and then Zach being able to place it where it needed to be. It's nice to see the chemistry that those two have already. And then, Elijah Moore is just Elijah Moore. I think he's primed to take a huge step this year, be the Jets wide receiver one. I think he's going to surprise a lot of people. Um, and I just can't wait to see him playing on the field this year. And I think once you get towards mid to end season, I think Garrett Wilson is really going to um, take some strides and become a really, really good complementary piece to Elijah Moore as well. Uh, Moving over to the running backs, Breece Hall and Michael Carter are going to be a really, really fun duo to watch. Breece is just he has a little bit of everything. He's got the home run speed. He's got the shiftiness. He's slippery when he hits the hole. It's really cool to watch, and Michael Carter is going to complement him so well. I can already tell with both of them have pass catching ability, but I think Michael Carter has the edge on him a little bit in that category. But the nice thing is putting either of these guys in, there's no tell. And what I mean by that is in years past, if you put a certain guy in, it may tip off the defense that you're planning to run or you're planning to pass protect. Both of these guys are good enough pass protectors, are good enough out of the backfield, are good enough runners that you can really have either of them in with any personnel and make it work. So I'm really excited to see these two. I think Breece Hall has a legitimate chance to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. I think in this offense where they're going to be run heavy, um, I, with the offensive line that we have, I think he's just going to explode right away, and I hope he does. It'll be a lot of fun to watch. And then, most important player on the field at all times, Zach Wilson. Zach had a really solid day. He had one bad interception to Delshon Phillips, but besides that, nothing else was really egregious. Um, Quick, decisive, got the ball out of his hands. Like I said earlier, defense was in the backfield so much he was running around all the time, but it didn't stop him from, you know, delivering some dimes here and there. I mean, really solid day overall. I think he finished with around 100 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. So pretty solid day for Zach. I mean, you're seeing now more consistency in that he's stacking solid practice after solid practice after solid practice, which is really, really what you want to see because I think it means one, he has more control of the offense, and two, I think it means he's getting more comfortable in the offense. So you really hope that it translates um, when week one comes, and for that we'll have to wait and see. But you know, all signs are pointing in the right direction for Zach, especially if he can keep up with the consistency of having solid practices. And then lastly, just to touch on the kicking battle real quick. Um, from what I saw, I believe Zerline went 3 for 4, but one of the ones he made was from 56. He nailed it from 56 yards. And then Pinheiro, I believe, was perfect on the day. I think that battle's kind of heating up a little bit, getting pretty close. I think uh, Greg the Leg was out front for a little bit. Pinheiro's slowly starting to make his way back into that race. So I think in the coming weeks, I think the preseason games are going to be really important in determining that battle. I think it's really going to come down to after the third preseason game, whoever's looked better with the opportunities they've gotten in those preseason games will end up being our kicker. Um, but I really feel comfortable with either of these guys. And we all know how much the Jets need at least a somewhat decent kicker. I mean, it's killed us for years now. So um, hopefully, whoever they choose out of these two can be good for us. I don't think either of them's a bad pick. So yeah, that's it for the kicking battle. Yeah, again, it was a really cool experience. Glad I got to go. You know, it's cool to watch up front. I believe I'm also going to another training camp practice on the 14th. So stay tuned. We'll have a video up after that one, telling you guys what I saw and what I thought of practice. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Again, if you're new, subscribe down below, drop a like and a comment on the video, and hit that post notification bell so that you always know when we're posting. Keep a lookout for a podcast coming in the next couple weeks. I know I keep saying it, but it'll be here at some point. So yeah, that's all I got for you guys today. Go Jets.